Today is February 7th, 2015. Joining us on the porch, our local musician, John McConnell, and local business owner, Paul Fowler.
The best place for family. What are you waiting for? Where friendships run deeper. Come join us on the porch. So glad you're on the porch.
That's right, kids. You are here for another exciting episode of On the Porch Radio Hour. And we are not at the Wooden Apple Farmstead today. We are at the Coffee Connection on Water Street in Oswego, New York. And we are pumped to be here in front of a full house. This is a live audience, and I am pumped. And I'm really excited to have Paul, the owner of the Coffee Connection here, as well as John McConnell, who's a local musician, singer-songwriter. And what's really cool about John and Paul is that they're located right across the street from each other. A lot of people don't know that in the early 80s there was still a train that was running pretty consistently through Oswego, delivering a lot of things into the harbor town. And one day in the mid-80s, there was a train that came through that was carrying a whole circus, and on that train was John's family, and he was born into the circus community. And as they came through, as so many circus stories happen, John was left behind and ended up being housed in the top floor of the building that the Old City Music Hall is in. And although there's not bells there, John was making a lot of lovely music as he grew up, orphaned, parented by the city, and living right across the street from the Coffee Connection. He became well known in the, intersection, I guess. Not quite in the whole town. He was still too young to be led around town, just walk on his own. But there he was, just upstairs, listening to music, watching people play pool through a hole that he drilled in the floor, and really enjoyed his time there and started to expand and move himself out into the community, and has been taken under the wings of so many people here in the area, and to see what a flourishing, wonderful young man. I'm going to tell a real quick story from when John was a teenager living upstairs from the old City Hall. He had taken a lot of notes as he was sneaking around and watching people do things through the floor, and he started collecting discarded musical cords and electric cords, extension cords, that kind of stuff, and he braided a 30-foot rope out of all of these electrical cords. And I'm sorry. He's also very precise living in the upstairs of the old City Hall. You have to be very precise and literal about everything. Thank you. And he fashioned this 40-foot rope out of all of these discarded cords. And one night during their Wednesday evening pool tournament, I think it was, a fight broke out. Somebody thought that they were up next, and they weren't, and I don't know the whole story. But what happened next was incredible. There was John playing on a guitar that he had acquired from one of the musicians at the old City Hall, and he heard this fight break out, and he tied his 40-foot electrical cord rope to a fixture in the ceiling, and he swung through and picked up a young man that was almost hit by a chair in this fight, saving the young man's life, and that young man went on to do incredible things. But this is John's story, not that young man's story. And so anyway, John and Paul have made an incredible relationship, and they're doing really fantastic things here in the town, and I'm so excited to have them on the show. And if it hadn't been for that 40-foot electrical cord rope that you fashioned, I'm not sure if you'd be here, John. I'm really glad you're here. And we'll catch up with you and Paul in a little bit. But for now, John, you're on the porch.
I'd like to thank the 40-foot electrical cord primarily for enabling me to be here this evening. Thank you. original song is called Like You. It's going to be on my next album. Sometimes all I want to do is jump up, stop this world in the name of you, then spin it back the other way to a former day. So I might hear you say anything so long as it's the first thing I hear. Before I open my eyes, I can feel you are near. Soon I'll be looking at you, looking at me. Can't think of a better way to start my day. I bet you still smell like you always have, probably always will. That breeze your passing frame creates, enters me, permeates through my heart into my soul, renders me out of control. Remember how I used to say, baby, you smell like you today, and I bet you still do. I long to breathe you in and taste you on the air again. Your skin is my oxygen, a scent so fine must be divine. Distance makes the heart grow fond, it makes me wish I had a magic wand. I'd bring you near with just one flick of my wrist and show you just how much you've been missed. I bet you still smell like you always have, probably always will. That breeze your passing frame creates, enters me, permeates through my heart into my soul, renders me out of control. Remember how I used to say, baby, you smell like you today. I bet you still smell like you always have, probably always will. That breeze your passing frame creates, enters me, permeates through my heart into my soul, renders me out of control. Remember how I used to say, baby, you smell like you today, and I bet you still do. I know you still do, baby girl. Thanks a lot.
For the last 10 and a half years, the Coffee Connection has not only been serving delicious coffee, tea, and cocoa, but has also been serving up a safe, welcoming place for everyone in the area. And that's been happening with Paul Fowler at the helm. Thanks for being on the porch, Paul.
You're welcome.
So 10 and a half years ago, you were doing what that motivated you and helped you decide to take over the Coffee Connection, right? Somebody, it was, or did you explain that story?
I actually was working here one day a week for a while, and the previous owners were going to be moving out of state and were possibly going to have to close it down. So I enjoyed all the people I had met here and the atmosphere here, and everybody that had been coming here would have been really disappointed. So I decided to quit my job and take it over.
It's been really awesome to watch what's been happening here, and I knew of the Coffee Connection before you took it over. And so I feel like you've been able to keep the same feel and have been able to keep the same clientele that were coming here, before you took over. But I also feel like you've created a real warm, I mean, it was warm here before, but it seems like you're growing it and you're able to keep people coming back as well as gaining new clientele. And I'm wondering if you had a vision, if you have a plan for doing that, or like how are you creating that kind of a space?
Well, I'm trying to make it's very eclectic. It's just, I don't really have a lot of new things. It's a lot of comfortable furniture and things like that. And also, I try to keep the prices at a good price for the college kids, so they'll keep coming back, and keep the people in the community that don't have a lot of money a place to come to and enjoy and sit and relax, talk, play some games.
Yeah, it's definitely a place for that. Every time I am setting up a meeting with somebody and it's going to be in Oswego, if they don't want to meet at their office, the Coffee Connection is usually one of the first places that comes up. And that feels good to me. I just think that's really cool. And you've also been doing really well. I know in the past you've had people coming and performing music. You've had poets, and you've had some other kind of open mic and events like that. Is that something that you're looking to grow? Is that something that you're just kind of letting it happen as it happens, or?
We're letting it happen, but I mean, if it was to happen more, that would be absolutely wonderful. Yeah. And we're picking up all kinds of new groups. We have knitting groups and book clubs, and it's a very diverse group of people, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. There is also, I don't know, it's my own personal question, I guess. I don't know if a lot of people ask you this or not, but you're closed on Tuesdays. Is there a specific reason for that? Or is it just you're like, I like Tuesdays?
Working just about every day of the week, it got to the point that I needed a day off. And the reason it started is Tuesdays used to be my shortest day because I was doing ceramics in the afternoon on Tuesday. So I would always have a short day, but then when I decided to close for a day, I figured that was my shortest day. So
that's cool. I always wondered about that because I've had people on Tuesdays that have said, "Oh yeah, we can meet at the Coffee Connection." I say, "Oh no, we can't meet at the Coffee Connection. That's his Tuesday." So you also, besides getting coffee, which I have a couple of questions about in a minute, but teas and cocos, but you're also getting baked goods and some pastries and things. Where are you getting those from?
Cakes Galore does all my baking for me. I try to keep the business local as much as possible.
Well, you've done well because I enjoy pastries when I come in every once in a while for my meetings. And you've recently switched your coffee.
Yeah, I went with a new company that their product seems to be much better. It's much better price on the coffee, even though coffee prices have gone up quite a bit. Yeah. But, you have to stay competitive. And, they're... It's a company that their customer service is just exemplary. It's just, much better company to work with. And
it's, from what I understand, it's really good coffee. It always smells delicious. So I'm going to switch gears real quick. I know that in the town during Harborfest, for example, we get just tons and tons of people. And Water Street is a really popular place. Mm-hmm. And it's a popular place for a lot of reasons. And I'm wondering how a coffee shop fits into that environment and that community with all of the people that are parking on the river and people that are coming down to Old City for music. How do you fit into that, and how does that work for you?
Well, I think we're like a convenient spot to stop for especially people, unless they're looking for a beer. Right. But I mean, if they want a cup of coffee or a pastry, and we do smoothies during the summer and iced drinks, a variety of different iced drinks. So it's a nice place for them to stop. We get a lot of walkers from Linear Park, a lot of people walking dogs down the street, and draws in a lot of business.
That's cool. And it has that kind of a feel where you could be out for a walk and just stop in and do that close kind of feeling to it. I like that a lot. So out of all of the things that you've done and that you've envisioned over the last 10 and a half years, and as you look into the future of what you want the Coffee Connection to do, what you want it to provide, how you want it to be community. What is your vision and what is your goal, and how do you want to get there?
Well, I'd like to, it's been here for such a long time. It's been here for 25 years. Yeah. I've only had it for the last 10 and a half, but it's kind of like a staple of the community. It's become very well known, and it's, when you go to different towns, it's nice to have favorite spots to come to. I have people that come from out of town and they stop here every time to visit, and I'd like to keep that going. It seems because I have the space upstairs here that groups seem to be the venue to go after, where a lot of small coffee shops don't have quite the room. Right. They might not have all the room. So I'm going more after groups now, different types of groups. And we seem to be adding on, like every couple of months I get a new one. So it seems to be working.
Yeah, it's definitely working. It's really fantastic. And I'm so glad that you were able to provide us the space to be here. Let this be our first public recording of the Porch. It's got a really cool feel. And it's the kind of space that we're trying to create with our show, too. So thanks for being part of that. And thanks for being on the show, Paul.
Oh, anytime.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you.
Today's episode of On the Porch Radio Hour is brought to you by chili peppers. Archaeologists, scientists, and historians have proven that chili peppers have been cultivated and eaten for over 6,500 years. Chili peppers have since traveled from South and Central America to Central New York. And why shouldn't they? We all know that the earth creates foods that are beneficial in the area that they grow, which inspires me to tell you a story. In 1912, somewhere in North America, a scientist named Wilbur Scoville created a process that measures capsaicinoids. Those are the chemicals responsible for the sensation of heat. And his process was pretty phenomenally scientific. What he would do is he would take some chili pepper extract and he would put it in a cup, and then he would dilute it with sugar water, and then he would have somebody drink it. And he would do that in measured increments until they couldn't feel the heat anymore. And that's how he was able to measure the amount of heat in a chili pepper. And that process is still used, although there are other scientific methods and machines that extract those capsaicinoids. But the whole reason this is important is because chili peppers are important. They're important especially to people in Central New York. And why shouldn't they be? Because they create heat, and they create energy, and they create life. Think about it. Thank you for thinking about it. I could see you, and I could hear you thinking, and I could hear you realizing that chili peppers are something you need more of in your life. So the next time that you're hanging out at home, and you're feeling that 2 o'clock slump, and you think, I need a pick-me-up. If you're not near the coffee connection, you can just go ahead and grab a chili pepper and just pop that baby right in your mouth. And you can feel the heat, feel the energy, feel the life. This is what chili peppers are for. This is why they've made their way from South and Central America to right here in Central New York. So on a cold, blistery day and you need to warm up, if you need to get some energy and get outside, just go ahead. Go ahead and grab some of those chili peppers and know that you are loved. Chili peppers, everybody.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, can I help you?
Why, hello. Maybe I should introduce myself.
Wonderful.
Okay, well, my name is store owner Bill Tompkins.
A pleasure to meet you, store owner Bill Tompkins.
Let me try this again, ma'am.
Yes, can I help you?
Why, hello again. Like I said, I am the store owner.
A wonderful store. You must be very proud.
Oh, yes, thank you. But, ma'am, this is my store, and you have been coming in here for the past week asking for coffee grounds.
Yes, you have wonderful coffee here.
Oh, yes, thank you. But, well, you can't just spread those coffee grounds on the floor like this here in the corner by the bathroom. You can't just throw them at customers as they walk by. It's disconcerting. Customers are beginning to wonder.
To wonder, wonderful. It is always preferable to stay in a state of perpetual wonder. Life is a gift. Let it unfold. I am here to answer any question your customers may have.
Fantastic. How about we start with this one? What are you doing here?
Oh, I find that this week the angels speak to me best through coffee grinds. I tried the Dunkin' Donuts place down the street, but frankly, the grounds were a bit stale. But here, Mr. Bill Tompkins, the grounds are so fresh, so vital. They are a perfect instrument for receiving messages from my angels.
Angels?
Yes. You look like you're having a bad day. Would you like me to read for you?
No, I don't want you to read anything else on my coffee shop floor. This is insane. You can't read coffee grounds, and especially not in front of the bathroom.
Okay, well, we can move to the counter. Here we go. Let me just use these grinds. Hello, grinds. What will you say to us today? They love to be talked to. 1, 2, 3. Throw them up in the air, and then let's see where they land.
Hey, that's my counter. I just cleaned it. I need to ask you to leave immediately.
I see something. Oh, you see how they're all bunching up over there? It's your daughter, isn't it? Beginning her rebellious stage, is she? Don't worry, she will settle down soon.
Wait, how did you... Yes?
She wrecked your car last night.
How did you know?
She will be just fine. Everything, in fact, will be fine. Just show her you still trust her.
Wow, how did you...
Well, I'm Rosa the Reader. I read everything. This week it's coffee,
But last week it was the corn tortilla chips at Azteca. Teresa is such a dear.
That's amazing. I didn't even say anything.
You don't have to.
Can I get you some more?
Oh, I would love a French vanilla latte.
Or are those grounds good for reading as well?
No, silly. I would never read those grounds. I'm just thirsty.
Thank you for listening to On the Porch Radio Hour. We'll be right back in a few minutes.
This is what's happening in Central New York, brought to you by I Heart Oswego. Identity Tides and Searching. Identity Tides is a video art installation by SUNY Oswego Communication Studies Associate Professor Jane Winslow and art instructor Barbara Stout, using multiple artistic media to explore the subject of gender identity. Searching is a student-curated collection of photography from Syracuse's Lightwork. Both exhibits will run through February. Visit oswego.edu or call 312-2113 for more information. The British ensemble Voice comes to SUNY Oswego on their second American tour. Voice brings a program of songs exploring beauty, heartache, and humor of love. The trio focuses the program, called If Music Be the Food of Love, on the role of women in music as composer, performer, and muse. The show is February 18th at 7 p.m. Call 312-2141 for more information. Don't Feed the Actors at CNY Playhouse specializes in audience interactive improv and is one of the longest-running improv troupes in Central New York. Their next show is tonight at 8 p.m. Visit cnyplayhouse.com for more information. Theatre du Jour presents Love Letters at the CNY Arts Center, starring local favorites Banna Rubineau and Mark Cole. The show kicks off the CNY Arts Center's new dessert theater series on Valentine's Day, Saturday, February 14th at 8 p.m. Tickets are $15 and include dessert. Also coming up at the CNY Arts Center is a 6-week poetry class called Finding the Poetry in Your Life. This class is appropriate for both first-time poets and those experienced with the genre. Emphasis will be on sharing poetry that is both accessible and applicable to our lives. Class time will be spent reading and discussing poems by established writers, exploring the techniques poets use to express themselves. There will also be time each session for sharing poems written by class participants. Classes will be held Wednesdays from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. beginning February 11th. Visit cnyartscenter.com for more information. The Fulton Community Theater presents Shooting Star, a romantic comedy telling the story of two former college sweethearts who meet up 25 years later in an airport terminal. The show is running this weekend and next weekend at Tavern on the Lock in Fulton. Call 315-592-2661 for more information. The Oswego Music Hall presents the Billy Jonas Band tonight at 7:30 p.m. Also, they present the new songwriter series The Hook, Friday, February 27th, featuring John McConnell and Jeffrey Pepper Rogers. The Arts Association of Oswego is now accepting entries for the 18th annual Lakeside Statewide Juried Art Exhibition. Entry in this exhibition is open to all artists 18 years of age and older living or working in New York State over the last 2 years. Acceptable media include drawing, painting, sculpture, mixed media, printmaking, photography, ceramics, digital media, and all fine craft. The purpose of the exhibition is to offer a diverse cross-section of artwork currently being produced in New York State. Visit oswegoarts.org/exhibition for prospectus and instructions, or call Lori Kester at 315-343-6599 with questions. The 2015 Salmon River Winter Festival is this weekend in Pulaski. Events throughout the weekend include a chili cook-off, chicken barbecue, a 5K, snowshoe race, live music, and more. Visit ColetteTheater.com for more information. Warm Up Oswego celebrates its 10th anniversary today with a day of fun-filled activities, entertainment, vendors, fireworks, and more. Visit warmuposwegofestival.com for more information. The Red Room Sessions at Wooden Apple Farmstead is a time for songwriters, musicians, and anyone else who wants to build their musical skill and knowledge to get together. We share songs we are working on, bounce musical ideas off each other, and we usually have time to just play a little music. This is a supportive environment where all levels of songwriting and musical experience are welcome. It is held the final Sunday of each month. The next session is February 22nd at 6 p.m.
Raised in Ontario, New York, and arriving on the shores of Oswego in 1999, John McConnell decided it was time to start performing professionally in 2004, and 1,500 professional performances later, John is still going strong. Thanks for being on the porch, John.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Take me back a little bit. You're 15 years old.
Roughly
15 years old. Get your first guitar, and you start writing songs.
Pretty much right away, and it was, I really wanted a guitar. My mother, who's very, very supportive, always has been, she wasn't too keen on me getting a guitar. She thought, I was going to join a rock band and grow out my hair long and, do things, antisocial things.
Right.
But she was always supportive, so she said, if you get a job, you can buy your own guitar. So when I was 14, I started working, and by the time I was 15, I got my first guitar.
Good for you, and
Thanks.
therefore appreciated it. And so you are also a Back to the Future fan? Is that correct?
It's true, yeah. In fact, so much so that my first band in high school was dubbed Flux Capacitor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something 100 gigawatts, right?
Yeah, 1.21 if I remember correctly.
That's right. That is awesome.
We help make time travel possible.
Nice. I like that. So what kind of music were you guys playing?
It was interesting. It was eclectic. It kind of started out as we were really inspired by, it was the mid-'90s, so everything that was going on around us at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't singing at that time in my life. I was just playing guitar. And so we we had one of my best friends. We were all friends, close friends. We were all in the same grade in high school. We started when we were freshmen, and the early form of the band was kind of like a geek rock sort of a thing, kind of Weezer-esque.
Oh, sure.
Back in the day.
Sure.
And it sort of evolved over time to like a rap rock band.
Oh, yeah.
So I actually started rapping.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like Little Beastie Boys kind of
like
thing?
Little Beastie Boys. That was a major
Yeah,
influence.
man.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then that's kind of how it stayed. It stayed like a rap rock sort of geek rock band, all rolled into one, and that lasted pretty much to the end of high school.
Right on. So it's kind of like Destroying My Sweater and Brass Monkey all rolled into one.
Destroying Your Brass Monkey.
Oh, wow. Yeah, please don't. I started working for that Brass Monkey when I was 14.
You have extras.
Yeah, true. That's true. So I'm assuming that from the age of 15 until now, your songwriting process has evolved or has changed, and so what is your process?
It's changed a lot, and there were a few years in there that I pretty much stopped playing altogether, and I started writing again like probably around 2003, and that is somewhat similar to the process that I use today. I call it puzzle piecing, really.
Okay.
Because I can't really seem to focus my attention on anything for more than like 12 and a half minutes.
I'm with you.
And so I have I've kind of worked out this process. Generally speaking, the music is created separate from the lyrics. Not always the case, but most of the time. And so what I've done is I've created like this process by which I take all the little scraps of paper that I write on throughout the day and whatever, and I try to keep this little steno pad. I have it here with me somewhere. It seems to be a good size. There's one right there. That's not mine. That's yours. We went through that earlier. And I only write. This was an important part of the process that I developed, is only writing on one side of the piece of paper.
Yeah.
Because all the flipping is a nightmare.
Absolutely.
So every once in a while I cultivate all these little pieces of paper, and I make little folders out of full sheets of paper that I fold in half. I put the working title on the front.
Yes, sir.
And then I put them all, I lay them all out, and I put them all in all the... Can you relate to this over there?
Yeah, we'll talk.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll talk. It's I have a binder with sleeves of like the baseball collector sleeves,
Yeah.
And I tear off little scraps of paper and tuck them all in the...
Nice.
We're brilliant.
Well, we really are.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. This is... Folks, you're watching something fantastic happening right now. So you might just want to grab some chili peppers and sit back because...
I think you can get those from Azteca, can you?
No doubt. Yeah, they're fantastic over there. We can get our chips red and everything. So anyway, back to the more important things. Let's get to important things. All of the stuff that you're doing is really awesome, and your writing is really great. Your sound is really great. So people love listening, and it is obvious that you love performing and singing and writing. Where are you finding the importance in your work?
Ooh, well, let me think here. I think that the arts in general are so profoundly important to civilization as we know it. If you follow the trail from anything you enjoy, you get to art at some point. I mean, whether it's music is your thing or commercials or movies, it's all, when you boil it all down, it's what's keeping us all entertained and us all, feeling good about life. And
that's right.
so I think that there's some importance lying in that. And I've also, in recent years, I've been hosting an open mic on and off at Old City Hall for probably about 8 years on and off. And I've been on for like the last 3 steady. And I switched the times around a couple years ago to start at 6:30 p.m. so that we could reach a wider range of players, because it's a restaurant, so it's all ages until 10 p.m. So I started kind of reaching out to the high school community and the younger college community, and then there's some folks who would come out and play but didn't want to be at Old City on a Tuesday at midnight or 1 o'clock because they have to work the next day.
Right.
That being said, it's kind of turned into like an all ages open mic, and I've started kind of filling in the role of mentoring some of these younger musicians, because I've played a bunch of gigs over the last 11 years, and those that are willing to kind of listen to some mentoring, or and the biggest goal is really just to make people feel comfortable up there, because it's for everybody. It's for all skill levels. It's for whatever, you want to do musically. And I want to make you feel comfortable. And if I can help you with the performing process, then that's cool too.
Yeah, that's real cool. And that's exactly how it should be happening. For those of us that appreciate the arts, that are in the arts, and we want to keep appreciating the arts, then at some point we've got to start working together and passing that stuff on. I really think that's a phenomenal move on your part. So you're mentoring, you're developing relationships. How do you envision this evolving for you?
Well, I'd like to continue. I mean, right now I'm only playing music to survive, which has been interesting. It's been going on for the last 2 years. I quit the day job a couple years ago, and I'd like to keep that going as long as humanly possible. I'd like to really continue on songwriting and developing that as a craft and as a trade, and into the future, beyond performing, which is great. It'd be nice to maybe sell some tunes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to just however I could further it, kind of doing what I'm doing right now and encompassing other aspects of music.
Yeah. So you are. It seems to me anyway like you're doing some of that expanding, not just in making sure that you're connecting with other musicians and helping other musicians expand, but looking to expand yourself too. And so you're performing outside of central New York at some pretty good distances. How far are you traveling? How often are you playing around the country? Like, how are you setting that up?
Well, that's another kind of facet of this that I'd like to explore as I continue on in this direction. I mean, I've played gigs in LA and New York City and North Carolina and Florida, and it's not something I'm doing actively, but when something presents itself, I try to take advantage of the opportunity. A couple of them have been weddings, and some of them, if I'm traveling, I try to coincide, some gigs and reach out to people. And, that's ultimately what I'd like to be doing. Right now, I'm based in Oswego, the town, and most of my playing is done between here, Syracuse, Rochester, once in a while Ithaca or Utica. And, that's another facet of this, like I said. So, it's not something I really kind of have like a set plan of how do I, book gigs elsewhere. It's kind of when opportunities present themselves, or, if I'm going somewhere, like I said, I try to kind of coincide it. So that's something I'm still feeling out, and hopefully, I'm just managing myself and not working with any agencies or anything, but that's something I'd like to start thinking about for the future.
Man, you're doing really cool stuff. And I want to take advantage of an opportunity here too, and I'm going to ask you to pick up your guitar and play us another tune. Can you do that?
I'd love to.
Awesome.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to be in this type of venue, because I'm really used to playing at in bars, which is awesome and fun, but it's not necessarily like the listening crowd, So this next song, I wasn't really sure what I was going to play, but I think I'm going to do one here that's also going to be coming off the upcoming album. And for those of you watching here and who are listening and watching, will be listening on Saturday, I am supporting a full-length album right now. And so the next one I haven't started recording yet, but I'm doing pre-production. on it and finishing up songs. And this is kind of a listening song. It's a tune I wrote. It's called Learn to Love. I'm a textbook overthinker, overbreather and overblinker, oversinker, underswimmer. I have lost before they decided a winner. Way, 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 way down below all my codependencies, I might see there is a need to learn to love myself before I try and love somebody else. Today's self-loathing is my clothing. Shame is the name of my game. I don't want to chat, so please keep on strolling. I like to keep it to me if it is all the same. I don't really feel like doing much of anything at all, but I don't feel like doing nothing, so it's time to retreat to my jammies with the built-in feet to go to sleep for about a week. Myself, fix the world, start each day brand new. Perhaps it's time to give it all to something bigger than me or you. I think I'm gonna start living for myself and stop hinging my happiness on somebody else. It's about time to spread my wings and fly. Not everybody lives, but everybody dies. Way, 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 way down below all my codependencies, I might see there is a need to learn to love myself before I try and love somebody else. I got to learn how to love myself before I try and love somebody else. Somebody else. Thank you. Here in Oswego, days when the rains came down the hollow, playing the new game, laughing and running, skipping and jumping in the misty morning fog. Our hearts are thumping, and you, a brown-eyed girl, you're my brown-eyed girl.
Now whatever happened to Tuesday and oh so slow, gone down the old man with a transistor radio, standing in the sunlight laughing, hiding behind the rainbow's wall, slipping and a sliding
all along the waterfall with you, brown-eyed girl. You, my brown-eyed girl. Do you remember when we used to sing?
Oh, just like that. La-ti-da, la-ti-da. So hard to find my way now that I'm on my own.
I saw you just the other day. My, how you have grown.
Cast my memory back, oh Lord. Sometimes I'm overcome thinking about it.
Making love in the green grass behind the stadium with you, brown-eyed girl. You, my brown-eyed girl.
Do you remember where we used to sing? La-ti-da. Just like that, man. La-ti-da, la-ti-da.
We now have a very special treat on the porch. It's the show's very own master joke teller. Welcome to the show. So naturally, I hear you've got some jokes for us today.
I sure do. This one's a favorite of mine. What do you call a grizzly bear out in the rain?
I don't know.
A drizzly bear.
A drizzly bear. Yeah, that's funny.
You'll really like this one. Why can't a bike stand on its own? Because it's too tired.
Too tight. You really are a master.
So, why don't you ever see hippos hiding in trees?
Well, I guess I've never really thought about that. Why don't you see hippos hiding in trees?
Because they're so good at it.
So maybe you could give us a couple more?
Sure. Did you hear about the hungry clock?
No.
It went back 4 seconds. Here's my last one. How do you make a tissue dance?
Jeez, I don't have any idea.
You put a little boogie in it.
Well, there you have it, folks. You can just put a little boogie in it. Thanks so much, Master Joke Teller. Thanks
You're
for being on the
welcome.
porch.
It's okay to be real. It's okay to heal. It's okay to get lost sometimes. Where you end up may have a better feel. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be strong. It's okay if your lonely heart wants to sing out a different song. 'Cause I need you, and I need me too. When I'm alone, I just sing this song to remind me what I must do. La la la, la la la, la la la. I love you, and I love me too. It's okay to grow. It's okay not to know. It's okay to show your heart to someone who needs to know. It's okay to leave. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to trust yourself to know what you believe. 'Cause I need you, and I need me too. When I'm alone, I just sing this song to remind me what I must do. La la la, la la la, la la la. I love you and I love me It's okay to be quiet. It's okay to be private. It's okay that you're lost this time in the middle of this night. 'Cause I need you, and I need me too. When I'm alone, I pray that this song will remind me what I must do. La la la, la la la, la la la. I love you and I love me too. La la la, la la la, la la la. I love you and I love me too. I love me too, and I love me too. I love me too. La la la.
On the Porch Radio Hour's music director, Gina Holsopple and John McConnell. April 30th, 1973. The occupant-propelled rotary amusement device was officially patented, and the Anderson family bought one as soon as it came out on the market. It would more commonly be known as the sit-and-spin, but on the official patented paperwork, it's known as the occupant-propelled rotary amusement device. But the Andersons had one as soon as they could find one. And their sons, Morton, 3 years old, and Kirkland, 6 years old, had the time of their lives. And it was durable, man. It lasted forever. And so if you were hanging out at the Andersons' house at any point of the day, they would be doing something with the sit and spin. Because if you own a sit and spin and it's that durable, you can only sit and spin for so long before you have to find other things to do. And being 3 and 6, you can find tons of things to do with a sit and spin. For instance, if you curl up in the fetal position and hold your knees around that center post, your brother can spin you forever in both directions. And you can find out how dizzy you get going one direction and then counter spinning the other way to try to undizzy yourself. And once you have, say, 8-week-old kittens and their mama, well, they're a ton of fun to spin. I mean, think about it. Little kittens nursing on mama cat, they don't have any place to go. And with a 3 and a 6-year-old, well, they said they wanted to make milkshakes for kitties, but really, it was just fun to watch. And as you get older and the sit and spin's still around the house, it pretty soon becomes a stand and spin. You can just put your feet on either side and just spin yourself forever. And then make an obstacle course out of couch pillows and mattresses and sheets and try to make your way through after you've been standing and spinning for a full minute. Stopwatches are important when you have a sit and spin. And then the cousins come over. It's a lot of fun to set up that obstacle course and blindfold them and then put the sit and spin right in the middle where they don't know where it is. And then they just kind of do what the Anderson kids knew as the Scooby-Doo run, where they would just keep going and going and going, but they weren't going anywhere because the sit and spin was just spinning, and there they were just flopping around on it. Lots of fun. For the Anderson kids, anyway. And you could put Matchbox cars on it. You know, they'd put the Matchbox cars and they'd spin it and see how fast they could spin it while the Matchbox car stayed in one spot because it had wheels too. But then the Anderson kids got older and they got rid of a lot of their toys. But not the sit and spin. No, the sit and spin was a staple in the house. The boys became teenagers, and they traveled south, and they went to really fun places like Virginia, where you can buy fireworks. And if you've ever put fireworks on a sit and spin, it's a lot of fun. But then they realized you can wrap clothesline around the base, and you can tape fireworks to it, and you can light the fireworks, and then the other one pulls on the clothesline and spins the sit and spin while they're flaming and shooting off fireworks, which was the inspiration for their biggest sit and spin event ever. And it went down in Tonkahogan history as one of the greatest moments in Tonkahogan history. So it was the town's anniversary, and they were celebrating their creation. And whenever you celebrate the creation of Tonkahogan, you have to bring up the massive white swan and the high school mascot, the cat salmon, which ate that giant white swan. And the boys knew that they had to do something for the anniversary, and it had to involve the swan and the cat salmon. So even though Virginia was a little bit too far of a drive, there's places in Canada where you can buy fireworks. And so they did. They piled into a buddy's car, and they took off, and they found one of those really neat duty-free places where you can get fireworks and other things. But they were mostly focused on the fireworks. And they got boxes and boxes and boxes of fireworks. And they bought all kinds because they didn't know exactly what they needed yet. And then on the way home, they had another brilliant idea. So they bought a whole bunch of bread yeast and flour and sugar. And when they got home, they baked bread. But not just any bread. They baked a massive swan. And they baked a cat salmon. And when they were baked to a perfect golden brown, they then affixed the swan to the center post of the sit and spin. And underneath, they had the cat salmon poised, ready for its momentous attack. And then they mounted the sit and spin on a big wooden block just to raise it up enough and to give it more surface area for more fireworks. And then they took the old push mower apart and they put the wheels on the bottom of the wooden base so they could push the sit and spin firework launching device into position. And they took posts and they just kind of taped them to the corners so they could drape a blanket over the top. So now they've got just this giant shrouded thing that they could push through town. And everybody knows the Anderson boys and their friends, and they like to cause chaos, but they never hurt anybody, so everybody just lets them go, like the time they had grocery cart races down Main Street. But this was the moment. And so there's music, and there's food, there's fried dough, and there's long lines, and people are waiting, and it was dark. And it was coming to a close. The festival was coming to a close, and they were waiting for something to happen. And the Anderson boys knew it was their time. So they pushed the sit and spin launching pad into position, right behind the tent where the music was happening. And there was a fold in the back of the tent right behind the stage. And they took that old clothesline, and they cut it in half. And they tied one half to one side of the flap and one half to the other. And they slowly pulled the blanket off to expose that massive bread swan and the cat salmon underneath. And they had it all hooked up with one fuse. Just one match was all they needed. And they had the other boys grab the clothesline, and they counted. And they waited. And as soon as that last note from the band was struck and everybody started cheering, they ripped open that flap. And they hit that match on that fuse, and they spun it. And the sit and spin was flying. And there was a tornado of fireworks just flying off of the sit and spin. And the swan caught on fire. And there was a flaming, massive white swan with a cat salmon just spinning in circles, flaming circles around the swan. And it was all going up, and it was making noise. And there's whistling, and there's dragons, and there's fireballs and Roman candles. And people are cheering, and the drummer's trying to move his stuff. And the guitar player wanted to get a better shot, and he was trying to move. And the mayor of another town was there, and he had his kids, and he was like, never in my town, and he was running, and the kids were screaming because they were having such a good time, and tornadoes of flaming cat salmon and swans spinning in infinity, and there it was just happening all in that moment, and all they could do was roll in the grass laughing. They couldn't get away, but everybody knew it was them. And as they were walking slowly home with a half-melted sit and spin and burnt swan bread and laughing, they stopped on the bridge that goes over Lago de Show River, and they dropped in the swan. And then Kirkland reached out with the sit and spin, and he looked at his brother. And in that moment they thought, it's done its job. And it was time to let it go. And they both looked at each other in the eye and they nodded. And as he started to let go, it spun. It still worked. Half melted. And it still worked. And then they both shook their heads, and he brought his hand back because there's still life left in her yet. And they put their arms around each other and they spun it and they sang, this is my home. This is my only home. This is the only sacred ground that I have ever known. Should I stray in the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. Rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. You have been listening to On the Porch Radio Hour. I want to thank everybody that came out to the Coffee Connection in Oswego to see us record live. It's been really great to have you guys here. I want to thank everybody that's listening on Concert Window, everybody that's listening on our YouTube podcast. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for being on the porch, and peace to your journey. I want to thank John McConnell and Paul Fowler for being guests on our show. It's been an awesome night. This has been On the Porch Radio Hour.
On the Porch is a production of the Wood and Apple Farmstead with host Matthew Wood. Our musical director is Gina Holsapple. Our stage manager is Ray Monet. Our sound technician is Maxwell Wood. Contributing writers for this show include Matthew Wood, Ray Monet, and Los Angeles writer-actor Carolyn Ratteray. Special guests include John McConnell and Paul Fowler. Finding information about past shows, being on the porch, and much more online at ontheporch.weebly.com.